Guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I will be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And if you've ever seen the movie Filthy Rich Asians, which is it's a pretty good movie, by the way. Singapore is a very fantastic place to visit. I've been there before. I went there for the event in Sentosa, for the Pogo Safari Sentosa to get my Tropius, and man, it was amazing. It's a really great movie, by the way. Also, like you should totally go to Japan, Akihabara. Like, just since we're talking about traveling, if you are an anime nerd, you should probably go to Akihabara. It's the mecca of anime. There's a lot of things to see there, and man, they got some good cafes. Anyways, without further ado, and there's my intro. Welcome to the top 5 Open Ultra League teams for Season 8. Go Battle League, part, like, what, 3? Something like that. Anyways, if you don't like Great League Remix, Open Ultra League is available. Some of you don't like it, but the good thing is there are a lot of teams, and the meta in Open Ultra League is generally a lot more stable than Ultra Premier or Ultra League Remix. As I always say, please consider contributing to ppoke.com. And without further ado, as you see here, the Ultra League data did update, and it's very interesting because, well, it's not really that interesting. Pretty much same old stuff, different combinations, and let's see exactly what the top 5 teams are for Open Ultra League. Alright, so team number 5 is Machamp, Leaf, Galarian, Stunfisk, and Umbreon XL. Double XL in the back, Machamp in the lead. Machamp is extremely powerful in the lead because against Talonflame XL, you can go straight Rock Slide along with Articuno. Fun fact, this actually used to be the number 1 team in statistical data for the last time around. So it kind of just, you'll see how interesting it is, like how it just kind of like flipped out. As you see, this team at number 5 is at a 551 rating. 0.8% of the player base is using this, so it is a very powerful team. And, well, it was the most powerful team, so, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. 551 rating, still freaking good, and still very positive for Open Ultra League. As you see here, C for coverage, A for bulk, A for safety. If you lose the lead, say switch into Stunfisk or Umbreon, whichever one you feel like. And then you can go ahead and close out with Machamp. Machamp is an incredibly powerful lead, being able to beat the holy crap out of a lot of combinations like I mentioned here. As you see here, very, very powerful. It was number 1 team at one point, like I mentioned. Even though it has a C for coverage and a lot of weaknesses you see in the lead, you won't see a lot of XL Meganiums, you won't see a lot of Hitmontops, you also won't see a lot of Harariyamas, Superiors, etc. Basically, a lot of the lists you see in the lead that Machamp will lose against, it's not going to do very well. Machamp does very well against the very popular Obstagoon lead, and like I said, it does very well against things like the Talonflame lead, Articuno. Steel leads absolutely hate Machamp, and especially Melmetal. You just basically, it's Goro with 4 arms is very, you know, it's not 1 Punch Man, but you know, 4 Punch Man is enough, or 4 Punch Woman, because Machamp can be female. So as you see here, even with a high threat score, this team was the number 1 team at one point, and still number 5 for the I think it's like part 3, to be honest with you, but yeah, it's still very, very powerful. Alright, now team number 4. Team number 5 is XL Land. Team number 4 is kind of ironic. So the most powerful team in XL Premier was actually being used in Open Ultra League as well. And it's just as, well, actually, it's still very, very powerful. As you see here, even though someone broke it in, it was a 0.5% usage. So only one person was really, 1 or 2 people were probably just bringing it around. The interesting thing is, it's still at a 560 rating. So it's amongst one of the most powerful teams in Open Ultra League. And again, the most powerful team in Ultra Premier. Not really surprised that it would work really well in Remix. I've already been through this before, but as you see here in Open Ultra League, has an A for coverage, B for bulk, C for safety, C for consistency. Not very safe and consistent, but it makes up for it for its amazing coverage and great bulk, thanks to Jellicent. In this meta, it's a little more difficult just because, as in the like, there's a lot more like Registeels, etc. Or basically the legendary meta is a lot more oppressive than it normally is, so that's basically why. But other than that, this team is still excessively powerful. As you see here, still has a very good rating. Of course, it's triple XL, so if you do have this combination and you don't want to change, anything, it still does really well in Open Ultra League. But, you know, this team's also really good in Ultra League Remix, so it's just really up to you. As you see, Jellicent, as the lead, does very well in Open Ultra League. Extremely powerful, extremely dangerous. Especially with the Talonflame and as well as the counter heavy meta in the lead. Hex doesn't do well against, just keep in mind that dark types do give Jellicent a very hard time, and Giratina Altered can give you a hard time as well just because Shadow Claw charges so fast, so just keep that in mind. Other than that, as you see, this team with an A for coverage is extremely powerful. Does really well. That's why it has a super high rating. Of course, it's going to do really well statistically, but because all three of these mons are excessively powerful, you don't really have a lot of weaknesses when it comes to this team. Like I said, your biggest weaknesses are probably when you just lose the lead. Other than that, this team will destroy a lot of combinations. It does take advantage of very popular leads, like things like gear, like, believe it or not, because of the fact that you have Bubble Beam, you do very well against a lot of combinations that you wouldn't think you would normally do well against. For example, Talonflame, you destroy Talonflame, you just destroy the Charmer leads. Armored Mewtwo, Muck also gives you, well, you won't see a lot of Mucks, but as you see here, a lot of things. Jelly with 2 shields is just really good. You could choose to sack it, or you could choose to Safe Switch with either A9 or Scrafty and then close out. But this team is excessively powerful. Scrafty in the back is nuts, and as an XL, it's really that good. Alright, now team number 3, well, the top 3 is actually incredibly interesting. As you see, the top 3 has an incredibly high usage rate, 1.5%. It's really freaking nuts. That means a lot of people are using the top 3. Starting off with Sirfetch'd, number 3, we got Sirfetch'd, Ferrothorn, and Stunfisk with a 566 rating. Still really good, so if you like Sirfetch'd, this team is for you. As you see, Sirfetch'd is incredibly powerful. This is using Leaf Blade and Night Slash, so it's using that double combination right there. With Night Slash, you can charge your, well, you get the boost spot potential, of course, but Leaf Blade also is able to wipe out Swampert, which makes it very, very strong. This team is basically kill Swampert. Well, Swampert doesn't have shields because Swampert, you actually lose against Swampert in 2 shield against Sirfetch'd just because it charges to Hydro Cannon super fast. This team is very interesting that it made the top 3 because it has a C for coverage, C for bulk. When you have a Sirfetch'd in the lead, it's very, not like, it hits really hard, but it's not super bulky. And not even Ferrothorn or G-Fist can make up for that. However, pretty safe and consistent. G-Fist is an incredibly powerful safe switch in Open Ultra League, so if you like Pancakes, Pancake is a very powerful safe switch. And then you close out with Ferrothorn. As you see here, this team does really well against a lot of meta in the lead. It basically, like the Obama Snow, if you see Obama Snow, Registeel, Sirfetch'd can win in the 1s, but keep in mind Swampert does beat you in the 2s. The thing about this analysis is because this is taken from the 1s and the 0s, this isn't really a true, like, lead for Sirfetch'd. You will lose against Swampert and a 2-shield. Just keep that in mind. Also, against general things like Giratina, if you see Giratina altered, etc., like, get out, because you aren't going to do very, very well. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, this team does really, really well. Again, you can choose, like, without Brave Bird, unfortunately, you can't break shields with Sirfetch'd or close combat. But you still have Galarian Stunfisk safe switch, and hopefully Ferrothorn and Sirfetch'd can close out. This team did make the top 3, so it's very, very hard to play in my opinion, but it did very, very well. Your biggest nightmare, probably Talonflame. So with Talonflame, unless you boost with Sirfetch'd, you generally lose against it. Ferrothorn is going to get absolutely wiped with Talonflame. And along with that, Galarian Stunfisk, even though you need like 2 Rock Slides to kill Talonflame. G-Fisk is incredibly powerful, however, if Talonflame is boosted quite, like, if it does have a few boosts with Flame Charge, you're still in a lot of trouble. Because 1 Rock Slide won't kill a Talonflame, unless you've already done chip damage. Very, very dangerous to play. A lot of weaknesses. A lot. For a very, very high threat score. So like I said, unless you really love Sirfetch'd, a lot of people are using this team, but it does have a lot of holes in it. So just keep in mind, you're going to have to play really sweaty if you want to use this team for Open Ultra League. Alright, with team number 2 at a 1.5% usage and at 583 is Talonflame XL, Umbreon XL, and Obama Snow XL. Did you vote for Obama? If you did, this team is very strong. And if you've been watching me for a minute, I told you this team is good. Literally, like, since Season 7, this team's been absolutely freaking amazing. And it was on PvPoke before, and I'm like, this team is really good. And like I said, if you've listened to me for a while, watch my videos, you know I've said that this team does have long-term value, and in Season 8, to this day, it is still either in the top 3 most powerful teams. At one point, it was the most powerful team on PvPoke. So I knew about it. I'll be like, this team has a lot of long-term capabilities, and to this day, it's at number 2. So, I told you so. Told you so. I told you so. Anyways, I use this team to make Legends Season 7. It's still really freaking good, and like I said, this team will stand for a long time, unless there's something that like, absolutely core breaks this team, for which I don't see for coming for a long time. This team does, since I've covered this team so much, I'm just going to go through it generally. Triple XL, great across the board, does extremely well against a lot of the meta. There's a lot of options with Talonflame. You can Brave Bird through shields, and then swap out into Umbreon. Umbreon is your safe switch for this team. You generally want to get rid of Umbreon just because if there is a Charmer, you kind of want the Charmer to go against Abomasnow. And hopefully Talonflame can close out with shields or just finish off whatever's in the back. This team's incredibly powerful. Again, took me to Legend, and to this day, statistically, is incredibly powerful. Very little holes on this team. Melmetal is probably going to be your worst nightmare, but you can play. I've beaten Melmetal Elite teams, so you can beat Melmetal. Try to catch a Rock Slide on Umbreon, or if you do happen to get some extra, like, Incinerates through the shields, you can, like, if you get 2 extra Incinerates through Melmetal, you can beat Melmetal Elite, basically. But at one point, you're going to have to be careful because, like I said, you have to switch out to Umbreon, and hopefully you can just do a bunch of chip damage and take out Melmetal. But I beat him Mel Elites, and like I said, this took me to Legend, and it's still extremely powerful. So if you're looking for a team, or if you're using this team, keep using it, because it works. Statistically, and for 2 seasons, it's going to work for a while. And now, the #1 most powerful team is... You know what's kind of funny? You know, team number 5, this is literally team number 5. All they did is just slap a Talonflame XL instead of G-Fizz, which is freaking hilarious. However, statistically, this team is the most powerful team. A 620 rating is freaking really freaking good. In other words, this team is the most powerful team, but anything over 600 is just ridiculously powerful. And this team does, this team does have a relatively, I wouldn't say low barrier, because anything with an XL isn't a low barrier to entry, but it's very likely you will have an XL Talonflame versus an XL Stunfisk. Machamp is incredibly powerful lead. I love it a lot. Shadow Champ is incredibly strong, as you see here. And then this is using Umbreon safe switch, or you can use Talonflame safe switch to break shields. Either way works, but as you see, this team is incredibly powerful, and I think I support it being this strong. Its lack of bulk makes up for the fact that it has really good stats, not great, a lot of amazing stats, but great stats across all the other boards. Theoretically, this team also does beat the team before it, so it beats team number 2. Machamp can straight Rock Slide against Talonflame. After you take out Talonflame, they're probably going to send out Umbreon against you, and then you could send out, you can mirror with Umbreon. You can mirror Umbreon, but this team does technically beat team number 2, so that's why it's just so freaking strong and so powerful. Shadow Champ or just regular Champ, you can use regular Champ as well. It steamrolls through a lot of leads outside of things like Cresselia, Giratina Altered. You lose the lead, say switch into Umbreon. Hopefully Talonflame and Shadow Champ can come out with whatever the W in the back. But seeing as the Galarian Stunfisk variant has been very positive, I can see this team being positive as well. Literally all this does is replaces G-Fisk with Talonflame. So Talonflame is incredibly powerful, and you see it gets results. This team's only big weakness would probably have to be Dragaggle. Ironically, Dragaggle does give you a problem because it's an XL, so you won't see it a lot, but as you see, it does give Shadow Champ a problem as well as Talonflame because of the resistance. Along with this, Deoxys defense can also give you a problem as an XL, just because of the sheer fact it has Rock Slide. Deoxys defense does do a number against Talonflame just because of the fact that it has Rock Slide and it's just so bulky. So as you see, some really inaccessible XLs can still give you an issue. I played Galvantula against Shadow Champ or just Machamp. You can beat Galvantula with Rock Slide if you play the matchup correctly in the 2 shields, so it's not all hope is lost, but just be very, very careful. So, but statistically, as I've said before, this team is incredibly powerful. Despite those weaknesses, you only have a 627 threat score, which is still super low. So again, this team is very, very good, very, very powerful, and I definitely recommend it if you're struggling, just because anything over a 600 rating from experience is just ridiculously strong. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Open Ultra League, as I've implored. If I know some of you don't like it, but there's a lot of teams, like I showed you, especially team number 2, that are going to last for a while because Open Ultra League it has probably the most stable meta out of every other meta in the game because of the fact that even though all legendaries are annoying, the fact of the matter is they kind of balance out the XLs in a sense. Well, it's not really balanced in a sense because as you see, XLs and legendaries are still powerful, but as you see, there is a lot of things, if you have the right Pokemon, that can work for a while. Like I said, the Team 2 I mentioned, Talonflame, Abomasnow, and Umbreon, for 3 seasons have been like top 3. So, because of that long-standing value, if you're able to build those Mons, you can do well. Other than that, do your best, and hopefully these teams do help you out if Ultra League Remix is giving you a hard time. you can do me a huge favor. I did come back from Vegas and did this, so you know, like, you know, it's like what's a good movie that like hosted in Vegas? If you watch Rush Hour, like I said that for last, Rush Hour is a fantastic movie, and if you do me a huge favor, I'm looking to get 3K subs by the end of the year, so please like and subscribe. It's totally free. You can easily subscribe by using that small box to the bottom right. Put your mouse over it, it'll pop up a little subtype, poof, you can easily subscribe. That way you don't have to scroll down. I made it easy for you. And to all of you subscribe, I really do appreciate you. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. Hopefully this data does help you out, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ciao!